Battle of Ontario being so one-sided. You don't? Oh, yeah. Let's go! Do you have a humiliation kit? This is all I ask you to do. I'm having a great finger flick. You're allowed to show up. This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills. With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory, puppies, Iggy! Here, I'm just gonna hand this one to you. It's kind of big. He's 10. He's 10. Rev it up, baby! Rev it up for the start of the playoffs! Leafs win! 6-2 over the Ottawa Senators in Game 1 of their first round series. Goodness, what do we talk about? You know what we talk about? See this 100 picture? I like this 100 picture in the background, and I'm gonna keep it, but I do want to take it down temporarily because this happens to be just the exact same size. A collage of newspaper clippings I've kept since I was a babe from the last time the Battle of Ontario took place in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And look at this! Look at a lot of the same themes! Guys going to the net! The Leafs goalie being better than the Sens goalie! Rough stuff! And also the aftermath of rough stuff. I'm doing it. Look at this! Look at, oh, like a glove! Yeah, the 100's gonna go back up, but not yet. So, let's get the super unfun part out of the way that everyone's been saying. It's one game. So actually, off the top of my head, heading into this game, the Leafs had been part of 10 playoff series in the Matthews and Marner era. Off the top of my head, game ones during that era, they are 2-8. They won in 2019 against the Bruins, lost that series. And 2022 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, they lost that series. Remember 2022 against the Lightning? It was 5-0. After game one. Highlights from that game include a 5-minute major being handed out because, I don't know, it probably ought to have been, and it remained a 5-minute major because it probably ought to have. We're not gonna complain about the officiating. That's for the other guys. Us? Never, right? Back me up on this one. Never in our lives. Bruins fans, back me up on this one. You're not busy anyway. We've never complained. This guy gets it. So to me, there's two stories to this game. There's the goals, because at the end of the day, hockey games are a goal scoring contest. And then there's the rough stuff. I'm gonna separate the two because I don't want to sit here all night going, this happened, then this happened, but then this happened, and this happened. And I don't need it to be an and then fest. But for the first goal of the game, a little bit on display of what I've been talking about. The Leafs' top 6 and bottom 6 have a clear purpose. They have a clear purpose and versatility. The Matthews, Marner, Nyes line, we know they're really capable defensively, but they can score. The Leafs' second line is a little bit more versatile in that, well, there's no hardcore left winger. It's Domi sometimes, and by the end of the game, it was Holmberg. It changes, right? That line is still okay defensively. They're a little bit more offensive. Then the bottom 6, it's different lines with a different purpose. I don't care what you call the third line. I don't care what you call the fourth line. Lawton centering Lorentz and Yarncroke. You're not outworking that line. You're not outskating that line. You're going to have a bad time. And that's what happens here. Leafs get out of their own zone and it's just off to the races. And you know what happens when you're fast and you use your feet and you work hard? The other team forgets how to count. This is a 4-on-3 for the Leafs. Wait a sec. Is that a 4-on-3? 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Okay. Now that looks a lot more like a 4-on-3. Oliver Ekman-Larsson gets away from everybody, and he just rips the thing above the pad, below the glove. It's a beauty. Big silly from the big Swede, and the Leafs go up 1-0. The team whose decor could not score during the regular season, their first goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs comes from a defender. Mwah. Man, I was saying this to someone the other day. There are players, it's a rare breed of player who are elite. They're the elite of the elite. And then something happens, usually an injury, and they fall off. And something happens in their career where they could fade away and ride off into the sunset, or they can reinvent themselves in a different role. A lot of Leaf fans are going to want to hear this, but to me, one of the best examples of this is Corey Perry. That guy scored over 50 goals. He won the Hart Trophy. And then he went away, his skills went away, and he got bought out, and he wasn't very good. All of a sudden, he's like an elite bottom sixer who any cup contending team wants in their bottom 6. I don't even know if it's fair to call him a bottom sixer anymore. He almost had 20 goals this season. To me, Oliver Ekman-Larsson can be that on defense. He was the elite of the elite of the elite. He was in every Norris Trophy conversation basically every year. At very least, in the conversation, right? You can't have a Norris conversation. You can't have a conversation about who the best defender in the league is without Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the Arizona Coyotes like a decade ago. Then he went to Vancouver. Oof, was not a good time. Anyone remember what he did last year? Oh yeah, he just quarterbacked the top power play for the Florida Panthers when they won a cup! I don't know if he did it the whole playoffs, but he did it in the Stanley Cup final where they won the cup! It's a good shot, but how about Allmark? 1-0 Leafs. 5 minutes later, Sens trying to get to work offensively and glove save by Austin Matthews. Bats down, sends the puck up the ice. Mitch Marner says, "Be very, very quiet, I'm hunting goals!" Ping! Literally bored down Mitch Marner makes it 2-0 on the breakaway. Listen, late series Mitch, we've had that conversation. Early series Mitch is different. This isn't even the first time he's done this in a game one. 2019 against the Bruins, again, that game that they won, he scored on a penalty shot. The Leafs have had so many good playoff memories in recent memory, and it's like when you lose the series, you just erase them all because they don't matter. Except for 2017 against Washington. For some reason, we're able to remember the good moments, like, no problem. It was a different time. Now, before the end of the first period, the Sens do get one back. One thing I think the Leafs did excellently in this game, and the Senators did not have an adequate answer for it, is the Leafs clogged up the slot. Obviously the Sens were trying to do the same, but a different version of it. They were trying to get in Stolarz' kitchen. They were trying to be in front. They were trying to throw anything on net, have it get through, and go for a rebound. A rebound or a deflection, doesn't matter. The only two that they got, I thought, were pretty handleable rebounds. Definitely the first one. Second one probably should have been gotten by a defender, but this one, Stolarz just bobbles it. Drake Batherson swoops in, stuffs it home, and the Leafs have their lead cut to 1 before first intermission. Lost in all that, the Senators outshot the Leafs into oblivion. I don't know what the final count was because it keeps going up and down in the broadcast, but it was like 13-4 for the Sens. Man, the Leafs got outplayed in that period, right? Here is Stats Wizard Dom Lecision. The shots are 13-5 Ottawa. The shots. So if you look here, like, the Leafs had scoring chances in front. They're going to the net. They're in the slot. The Sens shots are all farts mostly from the point. They ended up doing okay on a few of them, but like they didn't do 13-5 okay. You know what I mean? One of the skills I'm proud of myself for adopting this season. It took a while. I will admit it took a while, but I have perfectly adapted to watching a Craig Berube hockey team. It's not the same as watching Randy Carlyle hockey team. So those teams, they get outshot to oblivion and they suck. And there are times, especially like early in the season, I'm like, wait, do they suck? I keep looking up at the weirdest thing about this team all season long. Happened to me nearly every game. I'd be watching, I'd be like, this game is going fine. I look up, the Leafs are being outshot by 7, which is more concerning when it's the first period. But after a while, I stopped being worried about it. I'd be more worried about it if they lost the majority of those games. But the reason the Leafs were on home ice tonight is they didn't do that. This team is good at limiting the damage, keeping it to the outside. If there's something in the slot, they clear it. The 2 goals the Sens scored tonight is when that fell apart. Not as good attention to detail, not as good at handling the puck, and the Sens were feisty on it. Give them credit. Speaking of give them credit, there was a moment where this game could have been tied, and who knows where it goes after that. Brady Tkachuk with the breakaway! Stopped by Stolarz! Leafs get a power play. Yes, we're gonna talk about it. Relax. Remember after. Nylander puts it on Tavares, deflects it, stopped by Allmark, but he gets the rebound. Go to the net! JT with the PPG! And the Leafs regain their 2-goal lead. It's 3-1, baby. Oh, look, another power play. 3 minutes later in this economy! And it's a 5-on-3! Yo, you want to know how I know the Leafs aren't playing the Bruins? Sens fans are mad about the officiating. Listen, we're going to get to that. I'm not saying they have a point, but they're not the Bruins, put it that way. Why is bro talking about the Bruins so much? Trauma. Yes, correct. Rent free, rent negative. I have to pay for therapy for this. Anyway, it's a 5-on-3. And the Leafs, Craig Berube is unbelievable. Mark Savard, I don't know who drew it up. So they take a timeout. 44 seconds of 5-on-3. This is unreal opportunity. And they deploy this crazy strategy called win the faceoff and shoot. Ooh. William Nylander just has eternity and shoots it. He beats Allmark, and listen, bro. The Sens had their defensive breakdowns in this one, but you need a save. It's 4-1 Leafs, and the Leafs have a 4-1 lead. Guys, it's the beginning of the third period. They have a 4-1 lead. I think they're gonna be, is it 4-2 now? Stoller stops the first one, he stops the second one, and there shouldn't be a third one. Ridley Grigg puts it in. And the Sens are within 2 with lots of time to go, 16 minutes. And I don't know if you know this about me when I'm shooting LFR. I look down, like I have like a little bit of notes. It's not even notes. Like I have the box score up just to make sure I don't forget stuff. I was about to tell you about Morgan Rielly's power play goal. This was not a power play goal. Oh heavens. Wow, that should not have gone in. Bobby McMahon does a good job hunting this puck down, and Nick Robertson does a great job flying in support. Holy smokes, has his skating come along this year. Him and McMahon on the same line together. Yeah, buddy. He gives it to Morgan Rielly, and this thing stinks. This should not go in. Sorry. What I meant to say by that was playoff Morgan Rielly activated! I told you it's a thing! It is definitely a thing! All season long! Oh, mow yourself! Go mow your friggin' lawn if all your grass was made of goats! That was a friggin' bar. I'm writing that down. No, it didn't go straight in, though. Matthew Highmore tried to punch it or something. I don't know. It's the thought that counts. 5-2, just 45 seconds after the Sens make it 4-2, and that's gotta be a confidence killer. And then about 9 minutes later, the Leafs on the power play, because the Sens keep breaking the law! Matthew Nyes, with the flurry in front, buries it. He blocked the shot with his hand. I could have swore it was with his knee. The broadcast kept saying his hand, and then they said his hand looks fine. It did look fine. Leafs make it 6-2, and I bet both teams are just gonna ride out the clock. Nope. It's the playoffs. You know, it was great yesterday watching the end of the Blues versus the Jets. You see, what happened is the game was tied. And then the Jets scored with, I think it was 96 seconds to go in the game to take the lead. Then they scored again. And the Blues did what a lot of teams do, especially early in the series. They decided, we're just gonna go ahead and take our little pound of flesh. And sure enough, it was like a line brawl to end the game. You wanna know my favorite stat from this game? There were no penalties in the first period. Leafs only won because of the power play. Oh, that's funny. It was 2-1 after 1. There were no penalties in the first period. But in the third period, Drake Batherson cross-checking, Dylan Cousins misconduct, Tyler Clevin high-sticking, Oliver Ekman-Larsson tripping, Nick Robertson roughing, Adam Gaudette roughing, Michael Amadio roughing, Max Domi roughing, Simone Benoit roughing, Matthew Highmore roughing, Bobby McMahon roughing, Nicholas Matanpalo roughing, Brandon Carlo roughing, Tyler Clevin roughing, Matthew Highmore roughing, Nick Robertson high-sticking, Nick Jensen roughing. That was the only penalty. He got a penalty. He got a 2-minute penalty at the end of the game. Penalties at the end of a game should come with an automatic fine. I've been saying this for years. It is literally just, it's free. It's free assault. No, man, that's just hockey. Well, yeah, like borderline crimes are a big part of on-ice product. So, Sens fans, well, no, not even Sens fans. Travis Green, their coach. After the game, Travis Green, post-game, said there were a couple calls the Leafs did a good job selling. And this is accentuated by Tyler Clevin two-hand punching Max Domi in the face. Now, Sens fans were reiterating this, and there was a big discrepancy in calls. I think there was a big discrepancy in infractions also. I mean, the Sens got away with one too. Greg, I think it was, cross-checks John Tavares in the face. Tavares was coming in to hit him. I don't think it was like malicious. I think it was like, he just gets his hands up. He still cross-checked him in the face. And it was reduced from a 5-minute to a 2 after review. Like, they looked at it again and were like, oh yeah, no, never mind. Now, there were some Leafs fans going, all right, what's the difference between this and Morgan Rielly flying at Mach 5 and cross-checking a guy in the face after a goal? Nah, there's a couple differences, but I didn't love that one. I guess my question is, which penalties would you not have called then? Which penalties should have come back? Now, to Sens fans' credit, a lot of them cited the, I think it was the Chris Tanev one, where he got hit from behind by Stützle. I disagree. PK Subban was on TV talking about like, oh, that's not a penalty. Yeah, it very much is. It's a hit from behind in the numbers, and while it wasn't the most vicious, like it's not a 5, it's definitely not a 5, Tanev was fine. What it was an infraction that led to a change in possession of the puck. This is gonna happen all the time. This does happen all the time. Stuff happens behind the play or whatever, and it's definitely an infraction, and it's definitely not allowed, but it didn't actually affect anything, so meh, play on. If Stützle decks Tanev in the numbers, Tanev falls down, loses the puck, the Sens get it, they get a scoring chance out of it, and they score. Well, that's kind of BS, isn't it? And then it would be us whining instead of you. I saw people complaining about the one where Matthews got taken down by Gaudette. People talking about how much Matthews weighs. That's cope. That's a big heaping of cope. You don't need seconds. That's how much cope. The Senators showed their inexperience in this one. This is uncharted territory for the Leafs. When was the last time the Leafs went into a playoff series against a team who was like big time, undeniably the less experienced playoff team? Sens are a good team. There's a reason they're here. They're a young team, and they're gonna get better. That was not a smart game by them. They tried to take it to the Leafs often, and the Leafs were not afraid of it. Check out Max Domi with this uppercut. I love family traditions. Have that dude's nose bending like the DVP. Although it's more honorable to have your nose broken by Max Domi than your dog, specifically your golden doodle. I still have that. You can kind of see it. You can kind of, I'm an idiot. This blends in well to the first question. How much did Ottawa's playoff inexperience factor into tonight's win, and how much stock do you hold in that being a huge factor going forward into the rest of the series? Well, the good thing for the Sens is they had no games, a lot of them had no games of Stanley Cup playoff experience. Now they've got one. After next game, they'll have two. After next game, they'll have three. You see where I'm going, right? They took a bazillion penalties. I don't think they're going to do that again. After the whistle stuff is interesting. I'm not sure if they're going to engage in less of it or if they're going to engage in it harder. I kind of think they're going to engage in it harder, but they took the easy road out on way too many battles, and that's why they took penalties. The game jumps up a notch. Dude, the Leafs literally scored more goals against the Sens in this game than they did in all their regular season games combined. I'm pretty sure they had more against the Sens by the end of the second period. You can have a guy like Claude Giroux and David Perron who's been there, but at the end of the day, until you've been there yourself, the pace is going to be a little weird. I mean, look who took all the penalties. Like, not the coincidental ones. Stützle boarding. Never been there. Big games, but never been there. Ridley Grigg. Never been there. Adam Gaudette. I just checked. 10 games with the Canucks in the bubble. All right, so he's been there. He just hasn't been there in front of people. Drake Batherson, tripping. Never been there. And then from the Cleven one onward, that's just end of the game nonsense. All the ones in the second period that mattered toward the outcome of the game were from the least experienced guys when it comes to playoff hockey. Really good players, but least experienced when it comes to this. This, on the Leafs side of things, is the most level-headed, even-keeled, confident I've ever seen them. Poised, clinical, responsible, unflappable. But again, it's one game. I'm just happy you're happy. You know what? The Leafs won this game. I hope people watch this video. I really do. You know what I'm bitter about? Here, you know what? I'm going to use this as an opportunity. You know what I'm bitter about? I did reaction videos like this for all the Four Nation Face-Off games. Canada won the Four Nation Face-Off in overtime. That has fewer views than the video from when the States beat them in the round robin. So I'm glad you're happy. I'm happy. I deserve to be happy. Lastly, Berube really had these guys dialed in from puck drop. It feels different under him than any other series under Keefe. Are you getting the same feeling? It's like a lack of nervousness or something he brings. The guys thrived tonight. I'm not going to dump on Keefe. There was definitely a nervousness that he brought. It's a nervousness that I can relate to, but they're not paying me to be behind an NHL bench. Pretty much all season long, Berube's been the same guy. He very rarely flies off the handle. He gets loud like any coach. He does a pretty good job publicly criticizing but not burying his guys. His post-game quotes never have a tinge of anger to them. Never something he would need to apologize for, not that he necessarily would. Sometimes, even if it's just a little bit, you are who your leader is. Yeah, Matthews is the captain, Tavares is still there, you got all this experience. Yeah. Like, all that's good and gravy. You need a bench boss who's not going to lose his head. This is a guy who, it's documented on camera, told his St. Louis Blues team in 2019 in TD Garden, we're coming home with the cup tonight. Can you imagine a Leaf coach telling his team that during a game in TD Garden? Yeah, nothing against the old guy. I like the new guy. So, my friends, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. We're going to be recording a brand new Steve Dangle podcast tomorrow at the Sport Check at Maple Leaf Square. We had some technical difficulties with the stream. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who showed up to the Sport Check at Maple Leaf Square. We're hoping to have everything solved for Game 2. We're all a little inexperienced in a way.